Congressman Ron Paul, how much longer should the United States stay in Iraq?
The sooner we come home, the better. If they declare there's no progress in September, we should come home. It was a mistake to go, so it's a mistake to stay. If we made the wrong diagnosis, we should change the treatment. I think it's been known for quite a few decades that our foreign policy has what the CIA calls blowback. It has unintended consequences. You can go back to 1953 when we put the Shah into power, or us supporting Osama bin Laden and radicalizing the Islamics to go after the Soviets, and that comes back as blowback. Our support for Saddam Hussein in the 1980s. And this comes back to haunt us, and that's why I have been very attractive and very supportive of what I call a non-interventionist foreign policy. Mind our own business and stay out of the internal affairs of other nations. If you study the people who understand the Middle East, like Michael Schur and others, and look at the 9/11 Commission report, that's the evidence they provide that that was one of the excuses. One of the strongest statements for the position I hold comes from no other than Paul Wolfowitz, who said right after we invaded Iraq that this was a major, major event because we could take our troops out of Saudi Arabia, recognizing that that was the motivation for recruiting for Al-Qaeda and their motivation for their hatred toward us. So there's a lot of evidence. I don't think we should deal with the subjective. I think we should deal with the objective position of whether or not those who really understand the Middle East support what I had said.
The most important promise we keep is the oath to obey the Constitution. We just shouldn't be going to all these wars. We shouldn't have so many injured and in our hospitals because we shouldn't go to war unless it's declared. If it's declared, we should go win it and get it over with. Now we're in this war for 5 years or so, and nobody sees the end to this. So we went in under false pretense. There were no weapons of mass destruction. There are still people who believe that Iraq had something to do with 9/11, yet 15 of the people were from Saudi Arabia. We need to live up to our principles so there are less injured veterans, but when they come home, we better jolly well take care of them, and we're not doing a very good job right now because all the money's going overseas. We're broke, and we got to do something about it. And we can't perpetuate a welfare state and police an empire without going bankrupt, and we're nearly on the verge of that.
Thank you, sir. Senator Brownback.
Well, because 70% of the American people now think that the foreign policy is going in the wrong direction and want to change. So you can't win an election next year if you don't go with what the public wants, and they want to change in foreign policy.
A strong national defense means that we have an understanding of national sovereignty. That is slipping away from us today. The neoconservatives have taken over for the traditional conservatives, and they do not have the respect for our national borders that they should. We do not any longer have national sovereignty. We have deferred too much to the United Nations, the IMF, the World Bank, and the WTO, the NAFTA and the CAFTA agreements, and they should not be part of our system.
But I did vote for the authority to go after the Al-Qaeda. But the authority given and the money given was totally abused. We went into nation building. Where's Osama bin Laden? He's in Pakistan. Pakistan is a military dictatorship that we support, and now we subsidize, and they have nuclear weapons. So it makes no sense whatsoever with this ridiculous foreign policy that we have. So what happened? We ignored Osama bin Laden and said, oh, let's go to war against Iraq. So those are the kind of irrational policies that I'm trying to fight.
I think what we should look for is respect. That's what we need, and that's what we don't have. And they look down upon us because we impose on them. I have no problems with this theoretical position of the neocons to spread the goodness of America, but just not with force. We should spread it by setting a good example, getting our house in order, making sure civil liberties are defended here. Then, when we have a free and prosperous economy and everybody's doing well and everybody's getting medical care, then they'll want to emulate us. But there's no way it'll work to pretend that we have goodness. It's so good that the Wilsonian, actually this is old stuff, Wilson, make the world safe for democracy.
A Democrat.
It hasn't worked, and force does not work.
Yeah.
Persuasion does.
And